there. But I saw, must have been divine intervention. Another officer came, grabbed my arm, put it behind me, and they proceeded to wail on me. But there was just so many weird experiences, and that was the beginning of where they started to wipe my mind out, because they threw me into the state institution, and they drugged me, and they basically made me into a zombie. They wiped my memory out a couple of times, and from there, it was just I was misdiagnosed with schizophrenia, drugged out of my mind for about 10 years, and finally I was able to approach someone and say, listen, I think you made a mistake. They got me off the meds. Within a year later, they discharged me from their services and said, sorry, we made a mistake. You probably had never had a mental illness. Well, they completely ruined my life, and it's a stigma that just doesn't usually go away. So, but I started getting back into music, and I was doing licensed sound for a band that traveled up and down the East Coast, and the nightclub circuit. But it was really a lot of fun. They did rock and roll for the first couple of years, and then when disco kind of got big, they kind of switched their repertoire. But I just couldn't deal with being on the road all the time. I had met someone, and I think it was because of the medication, I wasn't really able to function enough. Although everybody, complimented me on the good job I was doing, but actually, to me, I told everybody that I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just doing it. I did everything on intuition. It was all done. I mean, the setting up the equipment, the running it, it was all intuitive. I didn't really. To this day, I tell people I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did it. And they're shocked because I fooled them. Anyway, that was like around 75 or so. I quit working for the band, and I started doing my own lighting company. That's when I was doing lights at Bourbon Street in Newport, and that's when I met someone who asked me if I would do lights for Boston. Now, this is the story that was a little confused. It was a little discombobulated. When I had a contract to do lights for Boston, it was at Bourbon Street, but there was a 2-week window, and that 2-week window gave them the out, so they wouldn't have to pay me. Back then, it was good money. I think it was like $175 a night, 2 nights. I mean, for the time, it was good money for me. But they canceled 2 weeks, just a few days before the contract was set to kick in, and they'd have to pay me, which is fine. I probably wouldn't have charged them, but they went from being scheduled there to being on the road on tour at the Civic Centers. Their album shot up so fast. So there's another missed opportunity, which it may have been a blessing in disguise, because my friend who I bought the equipment from went on the road with them, and he ended up having a severe issue with substances back then, and I think he went through like about I don't know, like 250,000. He just blew it in the first year, so he had to go off the road, but his company kept going. But so then I was married. That didn't work out, unfortunately. I got married in October of '78, and we separated September '79. But I have a beautiful, beautiful daughter. She's 41, and best thing that ever happened to me. She's great. And recently, I met my ex-wife for the first time in a while, because she had been sick and I hadn't been. They live kind of far away. Being a typical Rhode Islander, far away is 50 miles. Well, they live a couple hundred. So I went to to visit them, and I had a good visit, and it was great. But as far as playing, I just play now for personal personal use, therapy, fun, and I like to record it. Yes, of course, because when I'm playing, it doesn't feel like it's me playing. I don't know if you can grasp that, but while I'm playing, I this energy takes over, and so when I play it back and listen to it, it seems like I'm listening to someone else completely. And what I do is I multi-track. So I don't always start with the same instrument, but sometimes I start with a beat. Sometimes I use an actual kit, electronic kit to do the first track. But I multi-track. Everything I do is multi-tracked, except a couple of friends of mine who are really good musicians. We've gotten together and come up with some really good stuff, and hopefully, even though I haven't been feeling that well, age is catching up to me on the inside, not so much on the outside. But that's all I can say right now. I just want to see if I get any feedback, because I never even mentioned the fact of the paranormal experiences that I've had, too many of them, and my ancestry, which is quite extraordinary, actually. But I need to take a minute break and get something to drink.
Japhy, we are no longer live on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that. But it's really strange, though, because it says we're still streaming here. It says we're still streaming, we're still recording. Nothing has changed here, really. We're having all kinds of trouble loading the slideshow. This is just incredible. It's like one thing after another. Now, well, it's really bizarre, what we're seeing from this end. I don't know if we should stop the stream here. Or not.
My window captures and all that other stuff that isn't already preset.
OBS here was unresponsive as well too, just in the sense of being able to load slideshows. Mostly was what we were trying to do here. We have Herb's picture up there. I thought it was the best picture we could find. We're pretty happy with that, actually. Very, it really, I think, draws out it captures the essence of who Herb Anthony perhaps actually is, at least on some levels. But do you know the one we're talking about there, Mr. Anthony?
Yes, I do. I didn't think it was one of my best shots, but it's all right.
Oh no, it's great. No, that's our money shot. So okay, so you were telling us a little bit about your time back in the day. This MK Ultra business is quite something, as a potentiality of what occurred and you experienced, of course, back in the day personally. I wonder now, why did they apologize? You received an official, it was an honorable discharge, so they basically were admitting that they'd used you as a guinea pig and kind of screwed up.
That's it. It was honorable discharge, medical 200, meaning illness not curable within 1 year. That's what I was told. But the basic thing is, my whole character seemed to have changed. It seemed like I was a different person when I left there. And I didn't even really get into the basic training. It was mostly just like marching and KP, things like that, until they caused me to have a bleeding ulcer. And I know it was them because I started. They sent me to a dispensary because I wasn't feeling well. They started giving me Darvons, which is not the best thing for your stomach when you have an upset stomach. and I was taking the Darvons and not knowing, I was just listening to the doctor's orders, and next thing I know, I was throwing up blood. So I was rushed into the ER. Next thing I know, they're draining my stomach with a tube for a few days. I mean, for it seemed like it was for a while, and they actually called my family down because I was down to like 95 pounds or less. I wasn't doing so well. So all I can say is I can't prove this, but there was a direct. Oh, but my nephew was watching it on YouTube. He just said he's listening to what I'm talking about right now. So, anyways.
Good.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Yeah.
Well, no, what we've done though is we've relaunched the stream, so that's what we're trying to keep an eye on here. Our OBS is freezing up on us. We have it all seems to have occurred after bringing this. We'll have to talk to Tom. Tom is the guy to talk to. Tom's Tools, the Linux fix, one size fits all pretty much may not be what people could be looking for. There might be a few bugs in the works here, including the fact that our password has been overridden, so that now we no longer.
One of my viewers here on DLive warned me about that. They highly recommended not sending, memory sticks and getting the program that way. He says if you want Linux upgrades, there are reliable sources online you should go to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the OBS is really erratic right now too. We're seeing it up in the red and then down the yellow, dropping right to the bottom here as far as the numbers are showing. But we'll carry right along here as best we can. And just remind people, this is episode 196 of Pirate Radio Podcast. Myself, your host as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Japhy Ryder. It looks like we've restarted the stream here, kicking things off once again after running into just a whole host of technical issues here, hardware malfunction, and as well as what we have on board with the laptop that we generally are using to stream to you our shows twice a week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 on the East Coast. That's Tuesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays and Saturdays, 12 p.m. noon in Tokyo and Seoul. Hey, if you'd like to help us out to upgrade so we can improve what we bring to the public here on a semi-regular basis, PayPal email is pirateoneradio@protonmail.com. Your donations would help to go a long way, along with the fact that, let's not forget, half of everything that we do manage to generate and to bring in finds itself a part of the collective community Robin Hood kitty. It goes directly back to charity, helping out people at the grassroots, people who find themselves in a tight fix and a bind. $50 donations, $100 donations, at which point we a lot of times challenge others to either meet or beat the level of what we are putting forward, if that they could potentially do the same or not, depending on whether they find it within their means. So WPRPN.com is the website you'll want to drop by as well too. Sign up is free. And now Herb, actually, you've helped us out recently on Patreon. I think we'd already had we were looking at you pretty closely as far as bringing you on as a guest here, but you've now unlocked. It's the first level, the first tier to things over there. So you'll be getting copies of our the news story each week. There's a lot of hot issues in the news, and of course, a lot of people don't spend in front of a computer screen following the news and trying to look for what's taking place out there and what a lot of people might be missing as well too. not being able to see the forest for the trees, as the expression goes. But yeah, so we appreciate that, and I'm not sure if we already had you on as a guest or not, but like I said, we were looking at you quite closely because you did seem like a pretty intriguing character. What more can you tell us then about the MK Ultra end of things? You were going on about that. I think listeners would like to hear a little bit more if you've got anything for the share.
Yeah. Well, before I go any further, can I do one song?
You most certainly may. Most certainly may. Sure.
Right.
Yes,
I'm gonna-
we do have a request for some music, so we want to hear it.
Okay. I think this is my nephew wanted Plastic Bubble. It's called Lost in a Place. I'm gonna take my headphones off.
Before you do that, or while you're in the midst of doing that, let's if you
It's
can.
not yes.
Maybe he can't hear me. Can you? You can't hear me. Go ahead.
Lost in a place. Space. To trace my path. Lost in a place. Space. To trace my path. Found myself inside this plastic bubble. Found myself inside this plastic bubble of time. I tried to quit life so many times. Some people think I can make up my mind, but that's furthest from the truth. That's furthest from the truth. Yeah, that's furthest from the truth. All right, put my headphones back on. I don't even know if that came out.
Oh, that was beautiful. Loved it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we could hear that quite clearly.
Basically, I do feel like that I found myself in this plastic bubble of time, this time bubble that I think we're in. It's a loop or something, but because I've had so many different experiences that I've gone through different timelines, and talk about the Mandela effect. Oh, jeez, that really. That's a big one for me.
Oh, give a couple examples then of your Mandela effect experience.
Okay. Well, even back, let's see, it was around 2004, I'd say, probably. I was going out with an 80-year-old woman in my 50s. She was a great woman, and
I'm sorry. You said 80 or 18.
80.
Oh,
Yeah.
You go for
Well,
you go for the Cougars, do you?
Yeah, but it was just. I was actually trying to hook her up with my father.
Oh, I see. You figured
but
you'd.
You know what? Hey, he didn't. Hey, I guess she was too old for him, but hey, she was fine. But we had a great time. We had a really one of my best relationships. I mean, she was good. Really nice lady. She would have been 100 this year. Believe it or not. All right. Well, anyways, we used to go for drives, and I remember driving down this long, kind of desolate road. in Coventry, West Greenwich area of Rhode Island. And I looked to them, I left as I was going by, and I said, "What is that?" And I had to pull over, and I turned around and pulled in. There was a little opening. It had been a field there that they made a paved, just a paved road around in like a circle, and it comes back out. And there were some cars pulled in, and there was this huge, like a triple-decker or bigger bus. It didn't look like a bus that would be on the road, like a time bus, like a tour bus for time travelers. That's what it felt like, and it was just weird. So I'm like, it was boggling my mind. So eventually I left, and it just kept on my mind. So only about a week later now, I went driving down that road again, and I did a double take because we went by the same spot and it was gone. All there was left was an entrance, and it looked like something had been there a long time ago. It was just bizarre. There was an entrance that was blocked off, and there was part of the road that was there, but the rest of it was all dirt over it and stuff, and it wasn't there. And it was just, of course, her memory wasn't that great, so she's like didn't quite remember it. But then again, I mean, that's not the only time I've had a experience like that. Just about a year or so ago, I was on a. This is when I used to. I still smoke cannabis, but I don't smoke and drive anymore. Not that I can't handle it, but it's illegal, and I don't. I try not to break as many laws as I used to, if I can help it. But anyway.
Still illegal in Rhode Island? I can't believe that.
Well, it's the drive. I mean, it's put it this way. It hasn't been decriminalized, but it has. It's a fine. It's a civil. But nobody gets busted for it. The only people that get busted for it are the ones who are legally doing it and they're growing too much. That's usually the ones that get.
So
busted.
what is it, like a $50? It's like a traffic ticket or something. $50 fine.
Yeah, I think it's a $100 fine if you get caught with it.
It's a misdemeanor charge, correct?
Yes, under analysis. I don't even think it's a misdemeanor anymore. I think it was supposed to have been just a civil offense, but I don't know how many times
about
they'll
that?
do that.
Isn't that something? So, and do they come? They don't send like SWAT teams around to kick down doors or anything like that for weed anymore in Rhode Island, do they?
To be honest with you, yeah. Well, that just blows my mind. You used to say that because I have some friends that have a church called the Healing Church, and that's exactly what happened to them. I didn't realize they didn't have a license because you can get medical license for growing and using and all that. But they haven't done it. I don't even like using the word recreational. Social. I don't go to a bar and have a recreational drink. I have a social drink. But anyway, my friends got busted there at their place because they were running for office. She was running for governor, and he was running for attorney general here. And it was just convenient how they come in and they busted them. They thought they had a big score. They had a big vats of what they thought was cannabis oil. It turned out to be turkey soup, turkey broth. That's crazy. But they did come in storming right in and guns drawn, you know. But it doesn't happen very often. That was a unique case. Eventually, the charges got dropped, but it's just. But then again, they got busted again. Anyway, so put it this way, I just don't think that it should be illegal anywhere because the way that law came about with Henry Anslinger and his gang and his cronies, I mean, the way they presented it to Congress was fraudulent. They said it was a dangerous drug called marijuana, which it wasn't. It's cannabis. And the people, I mean, the congressmen would have known if they had called it cannabis. They would have said, "What are you talking about? That's medicine." But they used marijuana, and they basically defrauded the country by making it illegal by calling it marijuana, and it's not marijuana. So I wish somebody would I wish I was the lawyer because that's just not right. That should be null and void completely. So, on that note, I do want to play another song if it's all right. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that. I just had to find the mute button here.
Absolutely. You got standing ovation over here on D-Live.
Have you ever had a feeling, a dreaming kind of feeling, you can take to the skies and soar? Within our minds, there is the power. It's the key to the spiritual door. Humans, you think we're only humans? No, we're just going through a phase. Humans, no, we're not just human. No, we're just going through a phase. If God made man in his image, therefore man's reflection be God's life design. Although what we see appears to be but it's a mere bag of bones, which in the end will be nothing but acid and dust. Crying to get off, get off. Those are old songs. I haven't done anything new lately.
You have these available as well too via SoundCloud. I'm not sure where else people can find them. They are for sale, I do believe.
If you, I have two websites that they're all of my other. I have SoundCloud, SoundClick, Reverb Nation, but I have them scattered everywhere, and I give them away for free because music is meant to be enjoyed. You know, it'd be nice to, you know, make a few bucks off it. I mean, I am on a low budget, but you know something, that's okay. I'm getting by. God provides. He really does. Wow.
Well, that's good. That's very good. Yeah. And then people actually, we have in the show description area down here, a couple of your links, of course. I think we've got it all laid out the way we'd hope to. Pleiadiandragon.com is one of the websites. The SoundClick as well too was the other one that we had added, along with your ancestral roots. Really quite fascinating. There's an alchemist in history.
Yes.
If people, it's kind of an esoteric reference, something that a lot of people will not have heard of this person, as they would have, say, like the John Dee type characters, or what Francis Bacon, I think, might have been another as well too.
Well, he actually developed and patented Aurum Portable, drinkable gold.
Right. This is your.
It was one of the first. One of the first patented medicines.
How about that?
Yep. And actually, eventually, I guess his son or his grandson, they sold that patent. And I guess they were wealthy when they came here. That was a long time ago.
I'm sorry, they were what when they came to the States?
Well, they were
wealthy.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, they settled in like Barrington, Newport area.
Okay. And what were their names? Yeah. What were their names exactly? And let's hear about Susan B. Anthony too. Allegedly, that is one of your what would you ancestors? I guess you would say.
Yes, she's when I say I'm a descendant, people say, well, you can't be a direct descendant because she never had any children. No, but her father did. You know what I mean? It's like it's not. It is my bloodline. And there was also a Freemason called Jesse B. Anthony. He was instrumental in acquiring Cleopatra's Needle and bringing it to New York, and
that came via Alexandria, Egypt, did it not?
Yes, and I guess they had a little trouble getting on a boat, so I guess he put up the money or something. I don't know, but he got it here, and he presided over the ceremony. He was the grand, what do you call him, grand poobah? No, I don't know.
Hey, these are worshipful grand masters we're talking about. It's not a religion. They have to go to their way to remind us Freemasonry, not a religion, but they've got the worshipful grand masters. They meet in temples. I think that temples, and then they have all these rites and rituals, of course, secret passwords, secret handshake. They have their liturgy text that they read from and have to memorize by rote. But it's not a religion. It's like, come on, man. It's like, get real.
I think he was also alive around the time when Susan B. was doing her women's suffrage. Because I remember seeing some communication between the two. And there was also a senator and a governor here in Rhode Island. He was a member of the Whig Party. Of course, that was like pre-Republican, I guess, conservative. And so there's been a lot of, what do you call it? Ancestors that I feel like I didn't let down, but I'm like, wow, as a matter of fact, it's a miracle that I actually have a brain cell working after the heavy doses they did to me in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they used every medication. They Haldol, Prolixin, Thorazine, Mellaril, Stilazine, you name it, Elavil. I mean, they had me so pumped with drugs, and I felt like I wasn't in control of myself at all back then, until they finally, once I asked them to try getting off the meds, about a year later, they said, wow, gee. So, and you know what, if I was schizophrenic, that doesn't go away. You know what I mean? It's not like you get a cold and it goes away. So they were wrong there. So, but I have to look back, and I do get a lot of flashbacks from those days, and that's why music is my savior, it's my therapy.
PTSD flashbacks?
I would say that. I mean, memories, that's basically, yeah. I mean, it's like things that happened when I was locked in a psych ward. I mean, this is like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type of place, It was back then. It wasn't a nice place. And, I mean, I was abused in many ways, besides the over medications they were giving me. But I was also, my mind, I remember a couple of times my mind was like wiped right out. I remember sitting at a breakfast table, looking around, and I don't really know why I was there. I'm just sitting, just like, it was almost like watching myself through me, like behind me watching it. It was really weird. And, oh, sorry, I just misplaced where I was talking about.
Talking about your experiences back in the hospital, them
Okay.
drugging you and your state of mind.
Right. Well, right. And now remember sitting at this table, and I recognize it as a table, and I'm looking around. I didn't know what to do. I'm watching people, and they're eating cereal. They're eating breakfast. So I just watched them. I mimicked them. I had no recall of what to do. It was just I was blanked right out. And they did that a couple of times, but that's why I'm saying it's a miracle that I can even hold a conversation. I mean, I was also my own fault. I also, because I felt like not in tune with everybody else, I asked for a neuropsych test. So I went and had it took like 3 days to have it. But basically, I was using a lot of cocaine back then. I was cooking and making crack. And that was
what year? What?
Like,
I'm sorry, we're talking the mid 1980s then, right?
Yeah. 1980s, 90. I think in fact it was around 90 was when I got back into it, but because I did try to quit for 3 years. That's over and done with. But,
when did you get out of the hospital, Herb? Let me just jump in here for a second, please. When did you get out of the hospital? I'm just trying to get establish a timeline then.
Yes, those hospitalizations.
It was 10 years, a decade of your life.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't there. I mean, I was in and out. You know, I was in a local community health mental health program that was just giving me my meds and let me just you know. But that is 88 when they finally gave me that clean diagnosis, right? But it still wasn't. I mean, you know, you could, after years of being stigmatized, and I don't want to play victim though. I mean, you know, it's like it just happened, and I'm over it. It bothers me. I just wish I knew the truth, because I can't even find the record of the arrest that in '74 when this all came about. I shouldn't even been convicted. They arrested me. I remember barely being in court in '70. Well, it was probably '75 when I went to court, and I thought I was in another time, another place, and I was in a full-blown psychosis. I saw someone walk by me in a loincloth, sit next to me, before I went into the courtroom. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that was going on. And now I can't find a record of it. So it's just bizarre stuff. That's why I'm thinking MK Ultra. What else? You know what I mean?
Well, and Herb, I'm sure you're aware that they do, the powers that be, including with recruitment of within the intelligence agencies, they are very much interested in and keen on this business of bloodlines. So perhaps your bloodline was something that they were aware of, and that's why they green-lighted you for the program, thinking that you would make for a worthy subject, potentially.
Well, I guess, and I still feel like I'm a subject. I don't, you know, I mean, or let's see, a client now. No. No.
Well, you regard yourself as a TI. You told us that in the pre-interview. I'm assuming it's okay to share with our listeners at this point. But
yes. Yes. Every once in a while, someone who knows a certain part of my past, which is 1% true and 99% made up, they attack me on social media. And I mean, it seems to me it's a professional, because they just know what button to push. But I finally, after doing some research on how to deal with being attacked by them, I mean, they've used everything from psychotronic equipment to all kinds of stuff. You know, let me tell you about another instance when I was taking a ride in my car and smoking crack. And unfortunately, this is about 2004. I used to go to a place, a beach, it was a freshwater beach near Connecticut, and I'd sit there and I'd smoke my crack. And one day, my girlfriend, I won't say old lady, I have my girlfriend happened to come along. She didn't do that.
Your 80-year-old grandmother girlfriend?
She didn't smoke it. She didn't do anything with it. But she knew it. She knew it made me feel better. So if she's like, oh, honey, I think you need something. She's like, sure, and it didn't help. I wasn't gonna say no, but I remember I looked behind me, and while there was nobody really. There was a couple of cars. It was like I don't know, maybe 4, and I looked behind me and I saw a state trooper parked on the road, on the bridge, just going like maybe 200 yards from me or something. I'm like, oh, this is weird. It didn't stop me. I had no fear. I had no fear at all. It was almost like in a different alternate reality that was just weird. So, but then I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the sunroof. I started the car to get ready to leave, and the sunroof started to open and close and open and close. I'm like, what the hell? And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm not doing that. Then I looked. Also, I noticed there was a like a bread type van truck. It was a like a work van, and it had all these antennas on it everywhere. And I'm like, I think you think I'm stupid. I knew they were doing something. So I as soon as I started the car, the what do they call it, the locks, they always locked. Well, I started the car and they locked and then they unlocked, and then they locked and they unlocked. I'm like, oh jeez. I turned over and I looked at those people and like, I was like, I didn't give them a finger. I just like, what the hell? Just leave me alone. And as I drove away, I got about maybe 50 feet down the road. Everything stopped. Everything was back to normal. So, I mean, there's been so many things that are unexplainable to a normal circumstances that you had to be there, and people who know me have seen things. I mean, even back in 19,